All right. Are we rolling? Yeah, sorry guys. Oh my god. Some technical difficulties. I just came from the backyard. I was dealing with a situation with Gizmo and some animal intruders. I'll talk to you guys about that in a second. Just let me catch my breath. I just finished wrestling there with a bunch of iguanas and stuff. My god. What an opportune time. So as soon as I finished the last stream, I was just taking a quick second, whatever, just to get some coffee, whatever, right? And I look out the window and I see Gizmo in the part of the garden where he's not allowed, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So I'm watching him through the window, and I already see him in action, and I'm like, oh boy. So I'll tell you about that in a second. Hold on. So sorry about all that. Jeez. But anyways, I just wanted to start the live stream because I was already super late, and I know you guys were waiting on this, and a lot of people are waiting on this. In fact, we got Mary out there that asked me this question, that has been waiting on this question. So again, my apologies. So, for a lot of you guys that know, and I've talked about it multiple times out here, on this channel, about living in Mexico. And, living in Mexico, and I live in a semi-rural area. Even though I'm in the city, I'm still in a very rural type area. When you're living out here, it's wild, and you got to take care of everything your own self. So that's why I have a dog, to help with the guard duties. So, yeah, like I said, as soon as I finished the first live stream and, I was taking my little break trying to get some coffee and stuff, I check out the window and I see Gizmo wrestling with an iguana. And I'm like, oh, great. Perfect timing on this. So I run out there and, I take care of that situation, pull them apart. It is what it is. And then as soon as that's over, I see him still acting hysterically. And I'm like, what's going on? And then before I know it, he got another one. So it's two iguanas. And I'm like, what the? So, okay, so he's dealing with that iguana. All right. I'm trying to be, bounce around the words here because, I can't talk about certain subjects, but you can already guess, two animals going at it. Gizmo wins the fight. So anyway, Gizmo takes down iguana number 2. And I'm like, oh my God. All right, here we go. Again, here, I'll show you. Look, I got a little evidence right there. You can see it on my shirt. Look, you can see the red dots and blood splattering all over the place. So anyways, and then I'm thinking, all right, let's start cleaning this up a little bit real quick. Let me help Christian, start working on this so I can get back and do the live streams. And then iguana number 3. And I'm like, what the? So, things happen in numbers. And the number 3 has been following me lately this last year. And look at that. What a coincidence that in how long was it? Like a few minutes? Gizmo took out 3 iguanas. Like a freaking sniper, like a commando out there. So got rid of those 3 iguanas, and I had to clean all that up and take care of it. And now Christian's giving the big, the dog a bath because he's all, you think I got some stains on me. You can imagine what Gizmo looks like. Anyways. So sorry about all that. I know that. What an intro, right? What an intro. We're talking about, can I still retire in Mexico if the dollar keeps losing its value? And I'm here telling you, the story about me and my dog and the iguanas. So, anyways, I apologize. Jesus. Okay, so we got. Let me see. I got some questions coming in. Brian says, how is the Canadian dollar doing against the peso? You can do a simple, quick Google search, and you'll find exactly where the where the Mexican peso is to the Canadian dollar. But yes, we're talking about the U.S. dollar here as a whole. So obviously, it's also going to, pertain to the Canadian dollar or any other currency you might be using or have out there. Melon, let me just go through the questions before I get into the topic. I gotta settle down myself. I was just wrestling with the dog and the iguanas. Can I file, Melanin says, can I file our paperwork after we are in Mexico? I don't know what paperwork you're talking about. I am married to a Mexican national and we have 1 child. I don't know what paperwork you're talking about. So, Jose, when you start your show, a commercial comes on and we miss seeing you as long as they run. I had you on two computers and one has an ad blocker and you came right on but not the other. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing I can really do about that. Again, you have an ad blocker or whatever, but that's also why I give a little bit of time before I get into the show. Like right now, we're not into the show just yet. I'm just kind of like telling you the story of what happened, and I try to just give a few minutes at the beginning of a live stream, because I know things like that happen. There are other things besides ads as well. Sometimes people get the notification late, or they show up to the live stream late, or whatever. But it is what it is. It's not perfect. Great topic. I think we're all concerned with the crash of the US dollars. Can't wait to hear your feedback, Jose. Okay. Let me see. Oh, melanin, you can do all that once you're in the country, but make sure you got the right paperwork. If you want to know what kind of paperwork you need, I suggest you look at some of my other videos talking about that topic of immigration. But yeah, long story short, you can do it all in country. Is it easy to sell gold or silver at spot in Mexico for pesos or dollars? Well, a lot of times they'll give you over spot because they know what the price is out here. And honestly, it used to be easier, and it's a little harder now because it's only through private vendors that you can really do this now, as unless you're a citizen. If you're a Mexican citizen, you can do whatever, but anyone else, basically anyone listening out there, you're a temporary resident, permanent resident, tourist visa, whatever, you used to have more avenues in which to do this through the bank or whatever, but not anymore. So now basically all through private dealers. But again, like the way we've talked about this multiple times in the channel, the people in Mexico are very highly educated on the subject. So again, the bank itself will pay you over spot for the coin. So a private dealer will definitely do that as well. All right. We're not talking about gold and silver right now, okay? I know people keep asking me, do you know where I can buy 1 ounce bars? I don't, okay? All right. Lambo's birthday, whenever that is. Yeah, I think it's in August. I think honestly it's in August. I got to see if I can pinpoint his actual birthday. Now that we have him back on the show as a regular, we got to figure out his birthday. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's get into it. Okay. So long story short. Okay. Let's get into the quick, to the answer. To the question and to a quick answer, and then we'll go into the deep answer. So the question is, can I still retire in Mexico if the dollar keeps losing its value? Short answer is yes, of course you can. What's going to determine that? It's really more going to be like your lifestyle, okay? Your expenses, how you actually live your life, all right? That's really what's going to determine, whether you're going to, survive out here or not. Because look, you guys saw in the thumbnail of today's video, it's 100 US dollars to 100 pesos. So 100 pesos is $5. So right now, Joe Peach with the $5 super chat, okay? Shout out to him. Right there with the $5 super chat, that's really 100 pesos, okay? So in the image, you saw 100 pesos being equal to $100. Could that happen? Maybe. Again, if the peso keeps getting stronger and the dollar keeps falling, then yeah. Think about it. I don't know if it's possible, but imagine if instead of the exchange rate, someone in the comments section saying the exchange rate is 1 US dollar gives you almost 18 pesos. So imagine that it goes 1 to 1, where you get you get 1 peso per dollar. Think about that. Think about how low the value of the dollar has to fall for that to happen. Now, let's just say that you get some sort of pension. Let's say that your pension is $2,000 or $2,500 a month. All right. Right now, you're sitting pretty. But if it goes 1 to 1, by the way, this is like the most, extreme scenario. Okay, the most extreme scenario would be for it to go 1 to 1. If it goes 1 to 1 and you get a pension of $2,500, that $2,500 is going to turn into 2,500 pesos. And that's what grandma gets, okay? Grandma that never worked a day in her life. She was just a housewife, and she's basically just getting the pension from her husband that passed away because he did work and put into his pension retirement fund or whatever. And then I think she's also getting a little bit of money from the government, now with the new president giving a little bit more help and assistance to, the retirees and the older folk. So, well, long story short, 2,500 pesos is no money at all. 2,500 pesos these days is, let's see if we can do the math. Sorry. Wrong one. Sorry. Jeez. Hey. Okay, so right now, 2,500 pesos it's not much. $140. Okay, $140. Okay, so that's how much the currency could fall. But let's just say it doesn't fall all that way. Okay, all the way down. Let's just say that it falls to 10, 1 to 10. Right now it is 1 to 18, and people are panicking. So, and it's not that much. When I moved out here, it was like 1 to 17 or whatever, 1 to 16. But long story short, let's say it falls to 1 to 10. Meaning you get 10 pesos for every dollar. Then all of a sudden, that's going to be that $2,500 that you get every month is going to be worth half. It's going to be worth $1,250. Okay? And so $1,250, okay, in today's, world is, 22,000 pesos. Okay? But anyways, long story short, the thing is that at the end of the day, as the dollar is falling in value, okay, the Mexican peso is increasing in value. So meaning that those same dollars are buying you less, and the same pesos are buying you more. So if you are a Mexican earning Mexican pesos in the Mexican economy, well, as this keeps going forward, your pesos are going to be worth more. Your labor is going to be worth more. Your pesos that you get from working can buy you more because things are going to be lower in price relative to the money you're making, and so on and so forth. So the ones that really have to lose from this are people that are coming to Mexico with a foreign currency. So if all of a sudden you only are reliant on your pension, on your social security, on your digital nomad job, whatever it is, and you're only earning in dollars, well, guess what? As this continues going forward, those dollars are going to buy you less and less and less. And that's why a lot of people out there are like, oh my God, Mexico's getting more expensive. No, your currency is just worth less and less. Look, I only charge in dollars, for the things that I have to charge in dollars. You know what I mean? Just, again, when I'm dealing with, PayPal, Google, YouTube, whatever. But a lot of other things in which I deal with out here, it's all pesos. Because for me, that's the stronger currency and the one that I use on a daily basis. So I don't want dollars, ever. I want pesos always. You follow me? So, and that's the thing. I mean, the reality is that that's where we're going. So I think that, as time goes on, as the world economy keeps getting worse, we might go into World War III. The banks keep failing and they keep, consolidating. The US dollar keeps losing its value. They keep printing more money. All of these things, they keep accelerating. And all the things that we talked about Mexico, again, you can just go back to the video we did a few minutes ago or about an hour ago where we talked about, Mexico taking over China. Basically, that's where we're at now, where, again, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, with the pesos, they're now going to be worth a lot more. And they're going to be constantly worth a lot more. Why? Because, again, Mexico has a strong economy. They have a strong workforce. They got things like oil, silver, lithium, gold, and so many more other natural resources and other resources that they can tap into. And so their currency is only going to get stronger and stronger. Like I said, and I was saying before, and I'm going to say again, if all of a sudden the world goes into some sort of, financial crisis, a world reserve currency crisis, and we don't have a world reserve currency for a short amount of time while people figure out that the dollar is, they got to reinstate the dollar again or whatever they're going to do. Well, they might just go into the Mexican peso, backed by silver. Or it might not even be that at all. They might just pick another currency. But regardless, Mexico. Okay, Mexico will have their own currency backed by silver like they have before. And other countries might back it by silver, gold, whatever. So I think and as that goes on, like we're going to see what happens with the USA. I say that, again, the USA is going to establish a brand new currency backed by gold and the military and so on and so forth. And I think that's going to, keep the dollar. Again, it's not this dollar. This dollar that we're using today is not going to be around. They're going to replace it with another dollar. They're already going to replace it probably, real soon, with the whole Fed now and, trying to get you on the CBDCs and all that stuff. All right, so it's happening. It's already happening. It's in the process. Now, again, is that going to happen to Mexico? Probably not. Because, again, most of Mexico's economy is informal economy. Meaning it's all done, through pesos, meaning all paper money. It's all done through fiat, paper money, gold or silver, okay, done through, things like that, and not really reliant on the digital economy or digital money or anything like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, they understand Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and they understand a lot of things like that. But at the end of the day, you hear that? That guy with the horn that's driving, their bicycle to buy the house, that guy is selling breads and sweets and baked goods. That guy's never, ever, ever going to accept any kind of digital money or currency, because that would mean that they would have to, establish themselves, on the grid. Which, again, if you know anything about the Mexican economy or the Mexican government, how it works out here, the more poor you are, the more difficult it is to get on the grid. In fact, they almost like prohibit it. Yeah, I know things are changing, but long story short, the more poor you are, the less access you have to the grid. And the more money you got, the more power you got, the more access you have to the grid. You follow me? And they kind of force you to act upon it. But again, so most of the economy, over 60% of the economy in Mexico is informal, meaning no paperwork, no taxes, all cash or bartering or whatever. You follow me? So, because of that, again, you go to some pueblos and you can buy things for even cheaper than here. So, for example, a taco in the city is going to cost you around, hold on. A taco in the city right now is going to cost you around $1.25 US. $1.25 US in the city. But if you go to a pueblo, a village, a little town, and you go buy a taco there, it's going to cost you 50 cents or 55 cents. 55 cents to $1.25. You see the big difference, right? And the more rural you go, the more rural village, whatever you go, the cheaper it's going to cost you. Why? Because out there, they're not really connected to the rest of the world, and so they just need, money is just used out there. Currency is used out there, the way it was intended, just to move things about. But that's it. If all of a sudden you need to buy 5 tacos to eat and you don't have enough money, you could probably just tell that same guy, hey, I'll just come over to your house tomorrow and cut your yard, cut the grass in your house. Oh, okay, great. That's a great deal. You know what I mean? I'll sell you some tacos now. You come over and cut the grass tomorrow. That kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, and I could go on and on. So, the thing is, Mexico has, a lot going for it when it comes to that. Now, when it comes to, for you, you coming out here to retire, you coming out here with your US dollars, your Canadian dollars, your euros, your whatever, and as your home country keeps spiraling out of control, with their currency, with their government issued policies, with their whatever they're doing over there, and your currency is worth less and less and less every day, well, guess what? It's just not going to function out here. So if you're out here if you're retiring, yeah, of course this is a major issue to concern. A lot of people are worried about the wrong things. That's why I get upset sometimes when I'm making some of these videos, or even with some other YouTubers or whatever out there, when they're worried about things like, the immigration or the, what, all these other stupid things. You know what I mean? Like, when the reality is that people should be worried about this. They should view, is your currency going to even be worth anything by the time you get out here? You know what I mean? That's what you really should be worried about. Not whether, you're probably going to get, arrested, by some immigration police that doesn't even exist in Mexico. You know what I mean? So, Anyways. So Teresa asked, oh, so I buy 50 pounds of silver, I wish, and he goes, and then what do I do with it? You do what every other human on earth does. You do what the people have always done since the beginning of time, since before banks. You keep it yourself. You will have to protect it. You have to be your own bank. And how do you do that? So a lot of people, again, now goes back to the question that people ask me in other videos. Oh, how come there's bars on the window? How come there's dogs? How come there's so much security? How come it looks like a bank? That's why, okay? Because a lot of people, they're their own bank. And so they get a safe and they dig a hole in the ground under their house, maybe put a safe there. And it's like, you can't take the safe. How are you going to take the safe? How are you going to break into the safe? You get what I'm saying? And I could just go on and on. There's many ways in which people do this. In fact, what a lot of Mexicans do is that they just buy properties. That's why most Mexicans, even the most humble Mexican, that's like a mechanic, might have 2 or 3 homes because they just earned a lot of money throughout their career and they have nowhere else to put it because they don't trust the banks. So they just buy homes or properties or gold and silver, And that's the thing, and that's why look, the real reason why there is a financial crisis that's going to be happening in the U.S. and in the rest of the world is because the majority of the people of the world have forgotten or have never been educated on what the difference between currency and money is. Everybody thinks that these pieces of paper are money. They're not. They're just currency. What is money? Gold, silver, other things that, are actual things that are actual value. Okay, a property, you can use that as money. There's many things. Lambo, anybody want a good workhorse? What are you doing? Anyways, yeah, hey, behave. All right, I can sell his ass. He's an asset. Are you kidding me? So put him to work. So that's the thing. That it's like people just don't don't know. By the way, I'm not going to get into it here. You can do your own research on what the difference between money and currency is, and gold and silver and paper money and money made out of thin air or money printed on a computer screen and all that stuff. Okay, and so the reality is that, remember, it all comes to that same thing that I keep talking about and other people talk about. Right now we are living in the times, okay, where soft men have created hard times. These soft men that have created these hard times, well, guess what? They've always put their money, their trust in the banks and in the system. People constantly ask me, hey, when I get to Mexico, how do I get a safety deposit box? I'm like, bro, I don't even think these things exist. Most Mexicans, 90% of Mexicans will never in a million years trust any kind of value, with the bank. Are you kidding me? Let alone give them their own valuables. Hey, I got all these gold and silver coins. Can you hold it for me? No. They don't trust them. They rather just hold it themselves. Meaning, just like in the U.S., how they say, you want these guns, you got to take them from my cold, dead hands. It's like exactly the same. You want my gold and silver and you want all my valuables, you got to come and get them from my cold, dead hands. That's it, okay? And so everyone is willing to protect their valuables, okay? And that's just it, okay? The reality is that in Mexico, they practice the practice of being their own bank. Most Mexicans forever have, for generations, have been their own bank. And they don't trust anyone but themselves. And so if they have a lot of gold and silver, they have a lot of valuable money, whatever it is they got, then that's why you see them buy properties and land and houses and businesses and all these other things. And they just keep putting that money to work, making the economy even stronger because they don't trust the banks. How ironic, huh? So that's really the thing. And so a lot of people that, right now ask me these questions or talk about these topics from, in that perspective, meaning, how can I live in Mexico? How can I keep these valuables in my home? Again, you come from, unfortunately, it's not your fault, but you come from a land of weak men that have put you in a position in which they make you rely on these power structures. But when you come from a country that is full of, again, strong men, because Mexico, and again, we're just using the analogy here, okay? These strong men, are building good times. We're in that moment right now. And how did Mexico get strong men? From, again, coming out of weak times. Mexico has had its own weak times. Those weak times, okay, those soft, hard times have created, hard, strong men. Remember, Mexico, if you know their history, has just come out of a dark age in a sense. They come out of a very, very difficult era and age. And so now most of the population is, again, strong men and women pushing forward. Where in the U.S., we in the U.S. and in Europe and other countries, they have just come out of a golden era. They have just come out of really, really good times. Okay? And those good times, those great times have created weak men and women. And now, you're dealing with those consequences. And so that's kind of where we're at. And that's really when it boils down to it. So that's why I talk about the things that I talk about on this channel, because look, I understand, people that are retired, they're on a pension, they're in a certain situation, they are kind of, they're kind of stuck. They don't have a choice. You're 75 years old, you're 70 years old. You're not going to come to Mexico to start over, start a business, start working. You're just not going to do that. Okay? And if all of a sudden your currency is losing value, that is a major concern. Because if you're in the USA and you stay in the USA and the currency keeps losing value and it gets reestablished and all this other stuff, well, you're contained within your own country. And as all that process happens, well, guess what? You know what I mean? Like, you'll be in a better position, ideally. Again, I'm just assuming you're in the retirement age and you have to deal with this situation. But if you're anyone else, you're my age, you're 30, 40, 50, around there still, and you're looking to come to Mexico, and you're only making dollars and euros, and you're worried about the future, well, then guess what? You're still young enough for you to figure out something in Mexico to make money, to generate money, start a business, start something, start earning in pesos, start getting used to that. Yes, right now, if you're only earning in pesos and you're only, working with the Mexican economy, it might seem to you like you're making less money than you are back home. But the reality is that back home, you're making a lot more money, but you have a lot more expenses. If you do the math, if you're out here, you're making less money, but your expenses are extremely less. They're even substantially even less than that. So as the money that you're making in Mexico, the pesos you're making are going to only get stronger and buy you more. Well, wouldn't it be a benefit to start a business now or start earning in pesos now and start working in the Mexican economy now before it really starts to take off, so you can really take advantage of the situation? You follow me? So that's kind of like where we're at. You know what I mean? It's basically, if you're in your retirement age, by the way, I say, because look, when I talk about retirement on this channel, retirement can be any age, okay? It's all a mindset, okay? I don't want to get into that. But long story short, when most of you guys think about retiring, you're talking about a certain age group. And if you're in a certain age group and you already got your pension or your retirement, then this is a major concern, and you're constantly keeping an eye on the exchange rate. But again, now going back to how can you mitigate the situation, because that's really what a lot of people want to know. It's like, okay, Jose, I'm already in Mexico. I'm already living here. I'm on my pension. It's obviously buying me less and less every day. What do I do? Easy. Again, you got to lower your living standards. You might not want to hear that, but you're going to lower your living standards no matter what, wherever you are. So that's the way to mitigate it. And like I've said before, let's say that you only get $2,500 a month and it goes 1-to-1, which is the most critical, extreme, probably never going to happen situation. Then you'll be making like grandma. Okay. But again, let's just say that you are only getting $1,000 a month. Right now, it's barely enough, or just enough. Okay. But as it starts getting, worse, that $1,000 that I'm always talking about, remember, I've talked about it many times, that you can live out here on $1,000, and you still will be able to live on $1,000, even if that $1,000 is only worth $500. You follow me? Where it buys you half of what you're buying right now. You can still get by, but you're going to be getting by very, very difficultly. Meaning, again, you're going to be, cooking every day. You're going to be not being able to go out. You're not going to be spending money. You're barely going to be, having enough money to pay for some of your bills. Now, again, if you live like grandma, which I sincerely doubt you're able to do, but if you do, then you'll be able to have a lot more money. That's a lot of money. Okay, but if you're living like a typical American or European or whatever, and you have a few things that you want and you need, and then, you know, like a few luxuries out there, $500, that's not enough. That's why $1,000 is barely enough. But when that $1,000 is not buying you what it used to buy you anymore, and is only going to get lower, it's a major concern. Okay, so that's the thing. You know what I mean? Like this is really, you know, depending on who you are will depend on, you know, how you're going to have to go about this, and you're going to have to reconsider and think about, you know, whether you're going to want to move out here or not, and whether it's a good idea or not, and, you know, so many factors, you know, and what are you going to do to protect yourself? You know, let's just say again, you're out here already and you're already cutting down on cost. Well, what else can you do? Well, again, you can, you know, trade your money in for pesos. Look, I know that I've said multiple times that these days you cannot buy silver or gold from the bank anymore unless you are a Mexican citizen. But there are still legal ways in which you can get gold and silver through private dealers, private shops, and other forms, okay? So that's another thing you can do. You can use that, you know, whatever savings you have, you know, take advantage of the fact that you still have the ability to have savings these days, okay? Because the dollar hasn't dropped that much, your currency hasn't dropped that much. So use whatever money, whatever savings, whatever you have in your nest egg to buy a property, to buy gold and silver, to buy, you know, things of value that you can put to work at some point, you know what I mean? Or that you can trade in at some point, you know, something that's going to retain its value. If you know that the dollars are not, and you don't even know if the pesos are either, then you got to, you know, diversify in other ways. And then these are the things, you know, so it's you know, a lot of this has, why a lot of people don't even make these moves, you know, moving to Mexico or doing any of this stuff, is because there's a lot of thought that's you know, it's involved in this. You know, you got to like think about all this stuff. You got to educate yourself on a lot of other subjects, you know, like the ones that we're talking about here on the channel a lot, that most people are just not willing or able to do. And that's just the reality of it. And so, like, I can't, you know, you can't be expecting some guy on YouTube with a horse to educate you on everything you need to be educated on. You got to go out there and do it yourself, just like everything else. You know what I mean? You know, only, you know, me and, you know, whoever else is out there YouTube wise, you know, we can only do so much. You know, at the end of the day, it all boils down to you. Okay, I've talked about it multiple times. You know, I watch, you know, multiple channels about, you know, that do things like I do, you know, living in the Philippines or Thailand or other parts of the world, you know, other expats, other foreigners, you know, living this kind of life. And, you know, many times they you know, talk about the story, you know, the 60-year-old guy that goes to Thailand, you know, with his retirement money. And then, you know, before he knows it, he lost it all. And he lost it all because he got himself an 18-year-old girlfriend thinking that, you know, she loves him to death. And, you know, before he knows it, you know, she runs him dry. You know, and it can go on and on. And it's like, bro, how is this guy that's 60-something years old, you know, you know, how does he put himself in that position? And it's the same thing. It's like, you know, that's why I talk about all these things that I talk about on this channel, because it's like, you know, unfortunately, you know, not all of us have had the ability or the knowledge or the anything, you know, in order to really know what's going on or prepare ourselves for these hard times. You know, right now, as we're going into these hard times, you know, I'll look at memes that basically, you know, they talk about the new poor versus the old poor. So there's a lot of people out there. Give me 1 second. Hold on a second. Hold that thought. 1 second. I'll leave Lambo to... 1 second there. Sorry, guys. I got to take care of something over here. Just working. I'm over here off camera. Don't mind me. Multitasking. Okay. All right. With that, okay, sorry about that. Okay, but anyways, yeah, you know, the new poor versus the old poor. So, you know, I remember this back in 2008 when the first crash happened, and I remember all these people that all of a sudden are like, oh my God, I'm poor now, and I'm like, oh, well, really? This is your first time? You know, like, you know what I mean? Oh, you're the new poor. You know what I mean? It's because I've been poor. You know, now you're poor with me. Great. In fact, I can survive. I have a lot more skills on surviving because I've been poor for a lot longer, and you just became poor. So now the same thing has happened very recently where we got the new poor again. You know, again, people like me, you know, I've survived multiple bouts of being poor. and, you know, having to survive. And some of you guys have, you know, seen it on the channel. I've talked about it, and I can go on and on. But long story short, you know, this ain't new to me, as a lot of people are now becoming poor for the first time. Well, you know, I've been, you know, poor multiple times. Hey, killer, how's it going? Hey, you guys want to see the killer? Here, hold on. Look at him. He's all proud of himself. Yeah, he wants to be on camera. Gizmo, you smell nice and fresh. Fresh is so clean. Anyways. What happened? You want to go outside? Want to go? Hey, good boy. Good boy. All right, sorry about that. he just got a bath, you know. All right, I had to take care of the iguanas, and she took care of cleaning them up. I wish I could show you the pictures, you know, of everything, but I can't on YouTube. Okay, but yeah, interesting. What was I saying? Where was I going with all this? But yeah. So long story short, you know, that's kind of like what we're dealing with right now. So if you're used to already, you know, living, you know, beyond your means, you know, meaning that, you know, you grew up poor, you're very frugal, you know, humble, you know, you've never really earned a lot of money, you know how to survive, you know how to, you know, make things happen, you can just, okay, you'll be fine. You know what I mean? You'll be fine, obviously, you know what I mean? Because as you know, things get worse, you know, you'll find avenues of survival out here in Mexico, and you'll find other ways, you know what I mean, in order to figure it out, you know, because you've always figured it out. But for those people that have never been poor, those people that have never struggled, those people that have never had to miss a meal, you know, never had to, you know, sleep in an uncomfortable place, never have had to worry about whether they're gonna, you know, have to pay rent or have, you know, have a job or whatever. Those people, they're now dealing with whatever's coming. Oh yeah, there's no helping them, you know, like it's just unfortunate, you know what I mean? It's just, again, the weak men and women that are just not going to survive whatever's going to come. As opposed to, again, there's a lot of you guys out there that are hardcore, hardened veterans of life. I don't know what else to say. So you guys are going to be in a better position. And even, again, you might come out here, you know, at retirement age, and you know that it's barely enough, and you're educated, and you're, armed with all this knowledge that I'm giving you, and that you've gotten yourself, and you know, you still have the strength and the want and the desire to work and do something. Hey, you can still work and do something. Remember, we're in Mexico. You can open up a little something, basically doing anything. You know, if your hobby is a seamstress, you can just be a seamstress or a hairdresser or a mechanic or sell food or whatever. Just do it to a minimal scale, you know, because you already got income that's coming, but you're just trying to supplement that income so you can put yourself in a really good position so you really don't got to worry about nothing. All right. So you got all the tools at hand here. But, you know, when I see people that are coming, you know, asking me to come out here, and, you know, they only got like $1,000 to the retirement, and, you know, they're have a healthy and able body, but they're too lazy to walk to the corner store, you know, to go buy some fruits and vegetables. Yeah, no, you know what? Stay in the USA, because you have a higher chance of survival there than you do here. Because again, if you're used to, you know, putting in a little work to survive, you'll be fine out here. It's not a big deal. You know, you'll be able to thrive out here. But it's most of those people. Look, my last video, the one that I dropped on Sunday, was basically saying most Americans are too soft to move to Mexico, and this is what I'm talking about. They won't be able to deal with a situation like this. They're not going to be able to handle a situation like this. They just have no idea how to. They've never been in this position. And now that they are in this position, it's already too late to start learning at this age or at this position in life. And I hear it constantly, you know what I mean? Where it's just, you know, people they want to come out here. And again, you know, they say, oh, I only got $1,000, but I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home on the beach. And I want to have a servant, and I want to have a maid. And I'm like, where? In Mexico? No, it's not going to happen in Mexico. You know, maybe some other country out there. Not here. In fact, I don't even know what country these days you're going to be able to get all that for that. And it's just that disconnect, as opposed to a lot of you guys, they actually reach out to me and say, hey, I only got $1,000. I'm barely making it over here. Do you think I'll be able to barely make it over there? I'm very frugal. I cook a lot. I take care of myself. I do my laundry. I do, all these things. I have like a little side business, where I earn a few bucks. I'm thinking about maybe teaching some English in case the money's not enough online, make like $10 an hour or whatever. Oh yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be more than fine because you'll be able to get, you'll be able to get out here and build something so that by the time that this whole financial crisis or with this whole thing really does crumble, you'll be able to be in a good spot. You might be able to open up a little hamburger stand. You might be able to open up some sort of educational thing where you can teach people how to, work with computers or teach kids English or teach people English or teach people skills or whatever. I don't know. Get creative out there. That's another beauty about Mexico. You can get extremely creative. There's just, it's infinite. It's pure capitalism. You can do whatever you want. So, but yeah, let me see. All right, let me see some comments. Valerie Platinga says, I'm going to make it work no matter what, how low our Canadian dollar goes. You're right. I think I'm going to, through some bad times back home, help me learn. Yeah, but so that's the thing. So yeah, if again, out here, you can grow your own food. Out here, you can do other things in order to barter with people. If it comes to that, there's a million things that you can do to survive. As opposed to in the USA where it's just very, very limited. As opposed to Canada, you're very limited. Same as Europe and other places like that. Teresa says, I have to admit, I know nothing about using gold or silver for a savings. I'll definitely need to look into it and figure it out. It's a learning curve. That's all. Exactly. And it is. And that's the thing. It's not like I was born, knowing any of this stuff. It took me a lot of years. I didn't learn anything in school. They didn't teach any of this stuff in school. None of you guys learned any of this in school or anywhere else. I learned this, honestly, about 10 years ago. I found out about this, by educating myself, reading a book. I saw a few YouTube videos. I was like, oh my God. And then I just kept going deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole. And I was like, oh my God. Which I think most people are these days. Most people these days are, very enlightened. Most of them have gone down the rabbit hole. But, again, there's more to just a conspiracy. You got to really look at, again, the history of the world. And I'm not talking about the Mel Brooks movie. I'm literally meaning, what's going on right now. Literally, what is going on right now with the printing of the money and every single thing. It happened already. It happened back in ancient Roman times and Egyptian times and back then. And it was like, it's the same exact thing. Except that today, it's way more accelerated because, we have these things called printing presses, where we can print the money very quickly on paper. But even more so now with the invention of computers where we can just go, type whatever. And before you know it, you got infinite zeros, you got infinite, you got billions of dollars in your bank account before you know it. Which, by the way, that's exactly how it's done. Anytime that they sign any kind of legislation and you're going to send $100 million to XYZ country, we're going to send $100 gazillion trillion to do XYZ. All they're doing is they're getting on the computer and they're just adding zeros. Adding a bunch of numbers. That's how it's done these days, okay? And that's what I'm saying. So nothing here is new, and it's not just going on the conspiracy rabbit hole. No. A lot of almost everything, 90%, 95% of everything I've said or talked about, when it comes to currency and money, and look, all of this is based on fact, okay? And you can all look it up. And, not just history books, okay? But, ancient scriptures. This has been going on since humans have been here, okay? So. But yeah, it's just interesting, because again, like in a country like Mexico, they're very educated on these subjects. And in a country like the USA, you go to a bank and ask for gold and silver and they laugh in your face. They're like, what do you mean gold and silver? We don't even know what that is. Get out of here before we call the cops. So, and again, you go to any Mexican bank and, they have it for sale. They have the prices. They buy it off of you. They buy it over spot. All right? So... All right, hold on. Let me see. All right, one second. Can't get any more real than that. Okay. Hi, I heard that even on a tourist visa, one can open up a bank account and Intercam Bank. That's it. Yes, correct. That's it. Only Intercam Bank. Oh, yes, you can open up, but it's a very limited bank account, and that bank account is linked to a U.S. bank. So basically, that if you come to the U.S., if you come to Mexico and you want to open up a bank account on a tourist visa, and the only option you have is Intercam Bank, and you try to open up through there, at the end of the day, that bank is really only used for when you're trying to transfer money to buy a home or property or anything like that. Because a lot of people, they want to open up a bank account and use it like a regular bank account, and then they realize it's not like a regular bank account. But whatever. Some people have had good results, and others have had mixed results. And honestly, I opened up a bank account with them when I got my residency, and I never ever used it. And I don't know, it's probably closed at this point. I just use another Mexican bank, and that's it. Jose, remind people that Mexico is a very big country that has thousands of different cities that are nice places, and cost of living is significantly lower than in the main cities. I don't have to do that. You did that already. Thank you for reminding people. But hey, look, man, I talk about that. I don't know, maybe you're new here, but I talk about that a lot on this channel. Okay, Mexico's huge and very different. And just like anyone that's come from the U.S., it's very different. Florida is different than New York and California and Montana and New Orleans and so on. And same thing here. Same exact thing. So, Ratist Boutique, the third, I don't know, whatever. Sorry, Ratist Boutique Book. I'm sorry I'm butchering your name. Anyways, he says, I moved to Merida in December and the dollar dropped like a rock. Yeah, it did. Yeah, the dollar really dropped like a rock this whole year. So yeah, it's a bad time to... Anyways, it dropped like a rock and expenses got way too high living in Montebello. Found something among the locals for half the price. Has helped me with the stress. There you go. So see, you moved out here in December and you were living in the fancy schmancy area, and then you realize, hey, this is getting expensive as the dollar's dropping. So you quickly and immediately realized that, and you moved yourself with the locals for a lot cheaper, and you're good. By the way, I pay $300 rent for my house, and the people that were helping me fix the house, we were just chit-chatting, and they were asking me how much I pay, and they're like, you pay that much? Christian still thinks I'm paying way too much, okay? So long story short, you can still get, again, if you're a local Mexican out here, you're still paying rent in, I'll tell you what they pay rent, okay? Hold on. Their rent is, $150 a month, okay? So a typical Mexican can still get a regular house for like $150, okay? And I think I'm paying very little for the house I have, which is $300, and that's like on the high end. So imagine, imagine how much, more you were actually paying than you needed to pay, or anyone else. So again, the more you get like the locals, the more you live like the locals, the more you get integrated within, the local life and culture and live amongst them. That's why, again, I show you a bunch of other foreigners and expats living amongst the foreigners, living like the foreigner. Living amongst the locals, living with the locals, meaning I live in a Mexican neighborhood. If you come out here, you should live in a Mexican neighborhood and, again, interact with the Mexican businesses around you. Buy your fruits and your vegetables at the local fruit stand. Buy your meat from the local butcher. Buy your hardware from the local hardware store, and so on and so forth. Okay? The only time I go to Walmart or any big store is just to buy things like, coffee, that I can't get here. Again, if you're in other parts of Mexico, you might be able to get the coffee from the same market. From the grower himself. Unfortunately, I don't have that, so I got to go to buy that, wine, whatever, certain things. But at the end of the day, I can easily survive without ever having to go to Walmart or what is it, or Soriana or any other big box, grocery store, Chedraui, ever. I can just survive off the local stuff. And the more I buy locally, the cheaper things are. So again, the more you integrate within the local culture, the more you integrate within the local everything, the more you're going to be able to save, the more you're going to be able to stretch that dollar, and so on and so forth. So it's not just about mitigating the fall of your currency compared to the peso, and taking steps like, again, saving in pesos, saving in gold and silver, perhaps starting to earn money in pesos, earn value in pesos, perhaps investing in buying a property out here. And I can go on and on. Besides all of those things that I talked about, the most important thing you can do is integrate as much as you can within the Mexican culture. Instead of living in the expat or foreigner enclaves where you're just living amongst, other foreigners, you got to mix in with the Mexicans. That's how you're really going to be able to keep costs down. Because the more you're living, with other foreigners, the more you're living, with other expats, you're living close to the touristy areas, you're living in areas that are, catering to, Americans or Europeans or Canadians, you're going to be paying a lot more. But if you're living with the Mexicans, that are, they're just with the Mexicans, living the Mexican life, and you get to live, and get you also get treated like the rest of the Mexicans, because you get special treatment as a foreigner out here with money, as a foreigner out here coming from another country. But again, once you live with the Mexicans, things change as well. You also get treated a little different and things like that. So, but long story short, it's all about your living standards, and if you're used to living a certain way, you're used to surviving, you're used to, all of these things, you'll be fine out here. You'll be totally fine. But as long as you are, knowing that you need to mitigate and work on all this, and it's not just going to fix itself, that you need to put more work and effort into it. Again, as the person in the chat was saying, the Book the Fourth was saying that they immediately, when they got here, they had to immediately move to somewhere else because their money was just not, their money was not buying them what it used to buy them when they got here, and it's only going to keep getting that way. Like I said, the peso's getting stronger, the dollar's getting weaker. So, and again, I've already spent 50 minutes talking about that. I don't want to keep repeating myself. I see a lot of new people. By the way, shout out to all the new viewers out there in total. All the new viewers coming into the live stream right now, and all the new viewers, that are here, all the new members, all the new subscribers, all the new everybody out there, all the old ones out there as well. Shout out to everyone, OGs, the new Gs, and everybody, all right? Shout out to everyone out there. I know the channel is getting a lot of growth lately, and we're pumping them out, and you guys are really resonating with a lot of the content that I'm making, and I appreciate that, and I'm glad I'm able to help you guys. And again, thank you guys out there for helping me out and helping us out as well, because again, the reason I make these live streams, let's not forget, is because I'm just answering your questions. So you guys ask me questions that I format in a live stream, you know what I mean? So I make a live stream out of it. So let's just get into that real quick. So basically how it works is that you want to ask me any kind of question, all right? All you got to do is go to my website, okay? And on my website, you see it's a beautiful, nice website with all my videos. You click on personalized consultations, and right there, it shows you exactly what you need to do. In fact, I got a video talking about it. But anyways, it shows you exactly what you need to do in order for you to send me an email with your question. And there's a fee involved, and I get to answer whatever question, talking about any topic here in a live stream format. And why is this great and helpful? Because, well, if you're in the chat, you get to interact with me. Also, on top of that, I get to tackle topics that nobody else talks about. On top of that, I get to make a video that is helping the whole community out. And that's the thing. One of the most important things that I like to emphasize about moving to Mexico is the community aspect of it. The fact that we're a community out here, and that Mexico is a community as a whole. And because of that, since everyone out here takes care of each other, neighbors takes care of neighbors, the community takes care of its own community, things like, the community watch that's always existed, and they don't have to establish that. That's why, again, they don't care whether the police or the government are, efficient or working or not, because they themselves are their own everything, their own bank, their own police, their own bureaucracy, their own system of everything, of support system, and I can go on and on. But long story short, that's what we're trying to do with this channel here too. Again, continue that, and live like the Mexicans and work like the Mexicans. So a lot of you guys, some of you guys have a few more bucks, have a few more resources that you can, help everyone else out with. So right now, Bob was asking me a question earlier. We have Mary that's asking me this question, and both of them gave a donation to the show to make sure that I can continue making these episodes. I can feed myself, keep the lights on, feed the horse, and answer these questions to help you out. And again, it helps out a lot of you guys in the audience that don't have any money at all to donate or anything. You know, you can barely keep the lights on or pay for the internet in order to watch these videos. And guess what? You know what I mean? Like, now we're all helping each other out. So I just want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to all that. But again, just a reminder as well, you know what I mean, as to what we do here, okay, and how these questions work. And we do this every Thursday. We do 3 questions, okay? So let's see what else, okay? What other comments or questions we got? Because I think we covered this topic very thoroughly. Let's see if there's anyone in the chat that has anything else to say. Jason says, I'm okay with living rustic as long as the internet speed is high enough. Listen, I've talked about it several times in the 5 years that I've been living here. The fastest internet I've ever had in my life has been in Mexico. And I pay the least. I pay $30, you know, 25 to 30 bucks a month for internet. And it's the fastest internet I've ever had. Remember, I'm live streaming right now. Okay, very high quality. Okay, and I also upload videos, and I have to work with the internet constantly. Okay, and I have no problems. Where in the U.S. I had constant problems. I have almost no problems out here at all, if any. Sure, the internet goes down, power goes out from time to time, but it's very rare and it's not a consistent thing. So yeah, and by the way, even if you're in a very rural area of Mexico, and you know, in some of those areas the internet and is not as good, you know, as it might be where I'm at, it's okay. Just get yourself like what's it, like Starlink from Elon Musk. You know, you could be anywhere. You could be out in the middle of nowhere, just shoot a laser beam up into the sky, and then Elon will shoot back some internet, and you'll be okay. And it's fast. So you got internet out here. Let me see. Let me see any questions anymore else. Because, you know, by the way, we're about to finish. We're wrapping this video up. We're about to move on to the last video of the day. Okay, the last video of the day. Let's go to the site real quick. So again, right now, all of you guys out there should just go to my YouTube page. Okay, this, you know, the same YouTube channel you're watching this on. Just go to my YouTube page real quick and another tab, and then just go. Just scroll down a little bit. You know, right now we're doing, can I still retire in Mexico if the dollar keeps losing its value? I think we've answered that thoroughly in today's video, in this video. That's the one we're doing right now. But the next video, okay, the next video that we're doing here, which is the last video of today, is what is the dating culture like in Mexico? Okay, so I know a lot of you guys, and I know a lot of you guys, you know, want to talk about this topic and, you know, have, you know, been looking forward to this one. I know most of you guys are more worried about, you know, can you retire in Mexico, and you know, what is it? Will Mexico replace China? You know, more economic things, which again, it's funny because I remember when I first started doing YouTube years ago, nobody cared about any of the economic videos I used to make, and now everybody cares about all the economic videos I make. So, you know, how funny. Just stick with it, right? Just be consistent, and eventually, you know, it'll all work itself out. So, you know, I'm really glad I'm able to do these videos these days, and that a lot of you guys are, you know, able to get, you know, valuable information from them, and to help you make your decisions going forward. So let me see if there's any more. By the way, so again, the only questions I'm answering, you know, during these live streams are questions that pertain to the question itself. Okay, if you want to ask me other questions, you know, like about medical insurance, about Medicare, about, you know, the weather, about what, again, I've already told you what you need to do. All you got to do is just go to my website, click on the personalized consultations, and then, you know, you'll see how it works there. And then you can also see, you know, all these other videos, okay, of previously answered questions. So again, if you have a question, first go here so you can see if your question has already been answered, and if it hasn't, then you can ask me a question, or maybe you just want to ask me another question again. So so let me see, and I think we're good here. Oh, there. Okay, Walt is asking me, hey, I'm an older guy who keeps in shape. How does the dating scene? Again, if you want to know about dating, again, go to my YouTube page right now, okay? Click on this right here, okay? And I'll be there in a few minutes, okay? I'm gonna be, as soon as we're done here, we're wrapping this up here, okay? Just wanna make sure I didn't miss anything. I think we're all good here. Oh, look, someone just says, Isa Islang says, I just got a job in Mexico earning in pesos now. Salaries are getting higher. Wow, that's interesting. That's the first person really that I know of that has, yeah, thank you. Wow, it's great. Okay, let me see. I think that's it. Okay. Raymond says, I'm glad you do what you do because a lot of the stuff you say is confirming what I already know. Awesome. And I learned a lot. Monedita de Plata, how's it going, bro? Man, I haven't heard from you in a while, man. I was getting a little worried about you. Shout out to you. Glad that everything's great. How are the plantitas? Bueno, ya está todo cosechado. You know, I'm basically enjoying las plantitas right now. In fact, the last batch está en la última semana of whatchamacallit? Of curing. And that's it. But yeah, I'm enjoying them. And man, they came out way better this time around. Yeah, I just been learning. I just, it's like growing anything else. You know what I mean? I got better dirt, better organic fertilizer. And then I got better flowers, better fruit from the labor I put into it. So yeah, man, thanks, man. Shout out to you, brother. I was thinking about you the other day, honestly. I'm glad to see you there. Appreciate you, man. And again, man, next time you're out here, hit me up, okay? Yeah, super coolio, man. Like, for real. If you're out here and I still got some, I got to show you, okay? So I can get the final approval from you. Anyways, shout out to you, brother. Okay. Okay, I think that's it, guys. Yeah, it really does only get better. I mean, it's actually so much fun growing because, I'm growing tomatoes. I'm growing so many other things now. So, yeah, it's... who knew? Who knew I actually had a little bit of a green thumb after all, huh? So yes, yeah. It's just, how it is, man. You got to keep going and going if you really want to do something. And you know me, I'm hard-headed, so I made it happen. Damn it. So, all right, guys. So I think that's it. We're gonna wrap this bad boy up, and we're gonna move on to the next one. Okay. So again, if you guys want to stick around, if you guys are enjoying these live streams, you guys are enjoying today so far, again, go to my YouTube page right now. Okay, just go straight to my YouTube page, and right there you're gonna see the next live stream. Oh, sorry, I wasn't showing you guys. Sorry, just go to my YouTube page right now, and right there, the next live stream, upcoming live stream. Okay, what is dating culture like in Mexico? That's what we're gonna be talking about next. We're gonna be talking about that in like around 10 minutes, give or take. Okay, so 10 minutes or so. All right, so guys, see you there. Looking forward to the next chat. And yeah, if you guys have any questions about that question that you guys want me to answer while I'm talking about that, or any comments or anything, go right on ahead. Again, you guys can go on in there right now and get in the chat, and I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, I'll see you guys in a few minutes. All right, so thanks again for watching. Don't forget to please like, please subscribe, please share, please the bell icon, but more importantly than anything else, please stay awesome. And if you enjoyed this show and you're watching this in the future, check out this playlist over here somewhere. You're going to find some sort of playlist with all the other questions that I've already answered in the past, and find out how you can ask me a question yourself and all that. All right. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in a few minutes.